Hello, and you're very welcome to the Women's Rugby Pod, episode 176. I'm Johnny Howard alongside
Sadia
and Sarah Byrne.
The ladies are on board for what is a packed show. We're going to look at some of the Six Nations squad that have been announced here in the UK, the Scotland squad, the Ireland squad. We've got a full round of PWR fixtures last weekend to look through interesting results in there, including a fascinating draw. And then we'll look ahead to a super weekend in the PWR where all 4 games are being televised as well. Rori will be here with all your international news. Sevens in there, Celtic Challenge as well. If that wasn't enough, Meg Varley of Bristol and now Scotland is on the pod too. But first of all, Sarah Byrne's a little bit under the weather.
Yeah, I am. I'm a little bit ill, sorry. So you might hear a few coughs or sniffles.
Have you got a Lemsip in hand?
I actually hate Lemsip. I hate the taste of it so much. But no, I've taken my first defence, so fingers crossed.
I'm just striking up Lemsip as people to contact for sponsorship. Good.
Sorry. I'm sure it's great.
Sadia, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Had my birthday weekend this week. Family came down. And we have no training today. So, feeling good.
Happy days. Yes,
Happy
I'm very
days.
remiss not to say happy birthday to you. Are you an Aquarius then, are you?
No, I'm a Pisces.
Pisces. Okay. Any nice little prezzies you want to tell us about?
Got a few bits and bobs for my mum, just like, some candles. She got me a new lamp. Now that I'm 22, these are the things that I get for my birthday. And then went out got treated to dinner, which was nice.
Oh, lovely. Very nice. Well, that was Saturday night, presumably.
No, it was actually on Thursday. We had no training because we had a Fight Friday game, which was actually my birthday, so it worked out great.
Oh, happy days. Happy days. Look, we'll get into Friday night's game a little bit later on. But you're out on commentary. Don't tell us about the game, but just tell us about the experience. Is that where you got your cough and cold from?
Might be sitting in the cold. No, I don't. It was really cool. I've never been up in the media boxes before at Ashton Gate, but it's right at the top of the stadium. You can see the whole of the stadium. Mind you, it's hard to read the numbers sometimes. But then, but also you can see over the stadium, so you can see the whole of the suspension bridge, and all the lights at Clifton. It's really, really pretty. Other than watching the rugby and commentating on that, it's really pretty there.
Oh, good. I mean, I'm not sure there was the answer I was expecting. It was a pretty view talking about commentary, but yeah, sorry you're sniffling away. But look, there's loads to get into today. We recorded as we do Monday mornings, so these Six Nations squads came out after we recorded last week. So yeah, just wanted to get your thoughts ready. So let's start with the Scotland squad. What strikes me, and you put me right if you need to, it's very settled. It's certainly at sort of 15-23. It still looks very, very settled for Scotland.
Yeah, it does look really consistent, and obviously playing with quite a few of the Scotland girls at Loughborough. That's kind of the vibe we get as well. They say that they're quite settled in their squad. Obviously, a few new names to see. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of pans out. But yeah, I think definitely from outside looking in, they're quite a settled team.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think they have been building quite a strong team for the last few years now. So it'll be interesting to see the combinations. It's great to see Rona back in from sevens. I don't know how many, if they're allowed to play the whole Six Nations or just a few games, but it's always good to get your absolutely rapid players on the edges back in the squad. So with Wales, it'd be nice to get Jazz and Kaylee back, or whoever's back in those squads. So yeah, nice to see the sevens girls back in.
Because if you look at a pack, certainly for Scotland, and majority of the backline, we can probably pick the opening team now, can't we?
Probably be able to do a semi good job, I think. Yeah, of picking the starting pack. I don't know some of the new names, so they could be, star players that can come in and come into that squad. But yeah, I think definitely, having Rachel Markham on the flank, my teammate Emma Wassell calling the line out. I think you got those key players in key roles that will definitely stay in there for the Six Nations.
Yeah, and a lot of these players playing good PWR rugby as well. Yeah, Maren Gutterson been playing for, of course, Fine Cougars and Edinburgh Rugby. Alex Stewart coming as well. Their first call-ups in the forwards. Kieran Bell, again, University of Edinburgh and Edinburgh Rugby. Leah Brendan Holden, Gloucester-Hartpury. Shona Campbell's in there from the sevens as well. Nicola Flynn gets her first call-up for the University of Edinburgh. And Meg Varley as well, who you'll know very well, Berner. Been playing some really good rugby alongside Meryl Smith as well in the centres and wing and what have you. Meg Varley, one of those players who could possibly force her way into the 15-23. She's been playing some cracking stuff this season.
Yeah, she's been playing wing for us really, really well. She's extremely aggressive, beats defenders, scores tries. So yeah, I actually think if you're looking for someone who has a bit of bite about them on the edge, who has shown consistently that they can beat 3-4 defenders each carry, and keep the ball in those kind of isolating wide channels, I would be picking her. I think Scotland obviously want to keep building. They want to keep getting some wins under their belt. So I don't see why giving someone a bit of oomph and a bit of finesse to step into the squad, I think would be a really good option.
Because you'd probably think Helen Nelson will stay at 10, although she was at 15 at the weekend. Sadia, perhaps we're going to do that a little bit later on. Lisa Thompson, 12. Emma Orr would be a shooter at 13. I would have said Chloe Rollie picks herself. Fran McGee, Leicester Tigers, been absolutely ripping it up. There's competition out wide for Scotland, certainly.
There is a lot of competition. Like you said, the PWR has been doing great things for these international teams. I was going to mention Fran McGee doing really well for Leicester, being a key player for them, probably a player that now lots of teams would like to ID when they come up against Leicester. So credit to her for that. But I also agree with Berner. I think Meg Varley has been kind of tearing it up for Bristol, and I've seen a lot of clips. And when we played against her, she's a really strong ball carrier. I think she's different to the wingers that Scotland currently have. So I think she adds a kind of a new element to the game if they do choose to play her. But yeah, I think there is a lot of competition on those edges, especially with Rona Lloyd coming back in as well. But I think it'll be interesting to see how it all kind of heats up once the squads start coming out.
In the forwards, a lot of there's the Tigers, Loughborough, Quins, with Sarah Bonner, and Clark, obviously at Bristol with you. Evie Gallagher is probably putting her hand up, isn't she, for a starting berth. Fee McIntosh back as well, and good to see Molly Wright back from injury from Sale Sharks. And Anne Young as well from Sale. So, a very strong squad, very settled squad for Scotland.
Yeah, I do think though. I think just mentioning Eliane there, she's been playing really well for Bristol. Stepped into those roles, and I think she'll definitely be pushing for a start in that front row. If not, maybe starting. They normally have a really consistent front row, but I don't see why in a competition like Six Nations you can't rotate. Give some new players some opportunities, especially leading into next year as the lead into a World Cup year. You want to see different combinations, who's playing well, give opportunities out. So I think she's been going really well. So it'd be good to see her in an international shirt with some minutes under her belt.
One of those new caps announced in the Scotland squad. We've just been talking about her in very favourable terms. Meg Varley is now on the Women's Rugby Pod. It is a very, very warm welcome to Meg Varley to the Women's Rugby Pod. Meg, hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, very well, thank you. Fresh off the win at the weekend for your new club. We're going to get into Bristol a little bit later on. But first of all, you've been named in the Scotland squad. Huge congratulations to you.
Very much.
That must have been a wonderful, wonderful news. You've been in and around the club game for some time. Do you ever think that an international call up like that was ever going to come?
Not really. I think it's one of those where it's kind of plodding along. Obviously with Worcester, and then there was quite a lot of changes, and then moving down to Bristol and trying to kind of immerse in the group there. There's just a lot of changes, so it was one of those things that wasn't really on my mind. If I'm completely honest, it wasn't a priority at that point. Even now, it's like, wow, okay, and it's class, and like really quite grateful for that that opportunity. But yeah, it was one of those where it wasn't even on my radar, say 2 months ago.
And so how did it come about then?
So I think there'd been a couple of like mentions back when I was still at Worcester, but very kind of like casual, just like, oh, I'll qualify kind of thing. It wasn't anything really that deep. And then some of the girls, the Scottish girls at Bristol, obviously some of my mates from Worcester had moved across as well. They were like, oh, is it possible if we could pass on your number to Matt, because he's been asking, would you like to pick up conversation? So yeah, I was just like, yeah, of course, like why not? Let's kind of see what the crack is, what they like, if what they want from me. And yeah, it's kind of escalated quite quickly.
And where is the route, the Scottish route? Where is the strand of tartan?
So it's my paternal grandma. So my grandma on my dad's side, she's from Edinburgh. So yeah, it's only just qualify, but qualify nonetheless. So.
That must have been absolutely amazing. Did it take you long to say or think about, whether I want to be involved or not?
Well, no. So it did like take quite a bit of thought into it. I think it's mostly, well, partly you've got the whole kind of argument around like English and whatever else, but also just it was mainly the just the fact that it was all a lot quite quickly, and it was just in my head. I was like, oh my days, do I try it? And then it kind of came to the conclusion, like, actually, well, one, it is a massive opportunity anyway, and then two, it's kind of like, why not? Let's just see how it goes, and kind of just go from there, because like it's huge, and I think it would be, to pass on it, I think might not have been the wisest idea. And yeah, like the girls there that I know are amazing, and like Matt's been like really class as well, as I've been doing most of my talking to him. So yeah, it was one of those where it's kind of like, I'm gonna give it a shot and yeah, see what happens.
Matt
Banahan, is it their backs coach?
Oh, of course.
Sorry.
Banners. Sorry. No, you're quite right. I was thinking it's definitely Brian. He said, hey, no, Banners. Okay, but perfect. No, that is me being absolutely stupid. Can't remember him being called Matt for a very, very long time. But anyway, yes, brilliant chap. Really wholesome guy. Thoroughly enjoy his company. That's fantastic. And it is massive and it is brilliant. And you should congratulate yourself. Did you celebrate at all, or were you too busy thinking and making decisions and potentially packing bags and finding sporrans and this kind of stuff?
To be fair, there was, I think just after making the decision, we did have a weekend off rugby, and then I was working our Bristol men were playing Bath and then won, so that escalated quite quickly, that one. Won't go into any more detail. But,
no, it's a family pod.
Had a little bit of a social in the evening after work, but yeah, other than that, it's been pretty focused on Bristol and training and so on and so forth. So yeah, it was very, very short celebration, and then yeah, back to business really.
So if you thought this would never come, and I believe your words were plodding along, and then a phone call does come, an international team are are very keen for you to be involved. Have you had a little time now to reflect and go, you know, fair play me, all those mornings, early, late evenings, peeing down with rain, covered in mud, all the rest of it, your mates are going out, whatever, those sacrifices have been worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of like that with the fact that I'm at Bristol and competing with Bristol. Like that's still in my head, like because I'm enjoying it so much. But yeah, the kind of the Scotland like stuff kind of coming in is it kind of just accentuated that a little bit. It's kind of yeah, I think it's added on to kind of the Bristol side of it, because I'm still quite overwhelmed by that in a good way. And yeah, for that to come in as well, it's like, oh, all right, nice. But again, because everything's been at 100 miles an hour, like work, rugby, games, PWR, and then the kind of build up to obviously when I was supposed to be going into camp, it just kind of took over that, and there wasn't much room for thought in that sense. Really, it's quite a strange situation.
Yeah, we were just saying off air that you picked up a little niggle, which means that you're not up with Scotland right at the moment. But can you imagine playing in a backline with the likes of Helen Nelson, Lisa Thompson, Rona Lloyd, Chloe Rollie, Emma Orr? I mean, Fran McGee. The list just goes on and on. Be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've given it quite like that a lot of thought. Because I'm like, again, there are a lot of the players that I've played against for a number of years, and when I look at kind of like the wingers side of it, and I'm like, oh, they're all really quick. I'm gonna have to get quicker. But no, it's class, and it's like again, it's the kind of a testament to the way that Scotland's been building over the last however many years since they've gone professional, and which in reality hasn't been long. And like the way they're progressing as a country is ridiculous, and it's something that is quite special, like what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, the girls are saying, Berner and Sadia, yeah, you're a point of difference, a really strong physical ball carrier, as we know, and we've seen you down the years for Worcester in the centres and whatever. I wanted to ask you, because you signed for Bristol before Worcester so sadly went under, for want of a better expression.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So obviously the move from Worcester was already planned through that season. Like the season just gone anyway. So yeah, I ended up leaving before the women's side of it had gone under. The men's side had already sadly gone. But yeah, that planning was already in place to kind of move on and get a fresh start. And like obviously, I thought it was the right decision at the time. There's obviously a couple of wobbles, but yeah, right decision. And yeah, now it's like I look back on it and I'm like, I do love it, and I'm glad that I've made that move. Not only like we talk about obviously Worcester going under and it not succeeding from a women's only team, but actually for me personally, a new environment, new people, new coaching, all of that has been like insane, and it was good for me to have that change because like I needed to like progress because I'm hitting my mid-20s now, needed to progress, and I think that was to go in the deep end a little bit and completely relocate and everything like that has actually been the best decision I've made.
Mid-20s, merely a pup. But yeah, I know what you mean, and I've been a fan of yours through the years. Incredibly consistent player that you are, and now on the wing rather than in the midfield. How is that suiting you? Yeah, it's fine. Whatever position Dave wants to go.
I actually, I've said these asked many a time. Am I enjoying it? Is it okay? And I do actually like it. I don't like pace wise, like I'm not quite as quick as Debs and Rennie and all that, but from the way that we play,
not many are, to be fair. They're very quick.
It's really difficult to try and speed them out. But yeah, from the way we play, it kind of suits me better than a centre. Just from the like, I'll catch and go, like carry. Even if it's a case of like there's we're stuck and we can't get in this. I'm not going to make a line break. It's more that just like big ball carry and like kind of I get to use that a little bit more, which for me suits me personally. And I'm it's nice sometimes again to have a change, and it gave me a little bit of a challenge just to try and learn a brand new position, which I kind of quite enjoy. Nothing too rogue. I don't think I'd quite like doing 10 or anything like that. I think Dave might have to push me away a little bit.
You had an excellent season thus far, certainly, and Bristol, little sort of wobble over the sort of New Year festive sort of season, but hit a decent little run of form now. Dispatched Loughborough at the weekend, and looking very, very strong in those top four.
I think there's a lot of reflection going on, just like how we progress going further through the rest of the season, and I think everyone's pretty on it. And like I think when we've had some good performances, we know about it. There's a lot of times where we are very critical, and I personally think that's a good thing. And with the way we play, there is a lot to kind of pick up on and perfect and whatever else. But everyone's working like really, really hard to try and get us to that level and get that perfection. Whilst there's been a number of frustrations, even in our wins, a number of frustrations kind of coming in. It's good that we're kind of acknowledging that and trying to build on it, because we've still got a significant chunk of the season left. So we still got that time to like make those right before nearer the end of the season.
Yeah, and I know Amber Reed's been out doing the rounds a little bit with the media in the last few days. It's a Super PWR weekend. All four games out there for the public to watch. Sadly, I'm not at Ealing Trail Finders to call that one up, actually down at Gloucester. But yeah, Trail Finders this weekend. It's a little extra buzz this weekend. Super PWR, is that just for us media types? How's it settling in camp?
Yeah, I think it's quite exciting. Just generally, I think across the league, everyone's pretty buzzing about the fact that like we're in that position where every game can be watched by everybody in the country, essentially, which is huge. And we're pretty psyched. It's not necessarily just
Hang on, I've got to stop you. No, it's not the country, it's the world.
Oh yeah. All right, sorry, the world.
Rugby Pass TV, TikTok, YouTube.
Well, yeah, correct me. Yes, apologize. I think it's it's massive, and the fact that anyone can watch it is, and that getting that exposure as a league, not just a club, is insane, and really good step forward for the women's essentially professional setup. Everyone's quite excited about that.
But Meg, we'll leave it there for you to crack on with all your various bits and pieces. Really appreciate you spending the time with us today. Always enjoy commentating on you, and we'll continue to do so.
No worries. Thank you very much.
I'm Donna Kennedy, and you are listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
From one Celtic nation to another, the Ireland squad for the Six Nations, the wider squad, has been announced. For me, the headline would be the inclusion, just mounts out from an Olympics, and Ireland, having just picked up their first HSBC Sevens tournament win. Parsons, Higgins, and Riley are all included in this squad, out and out Sevens players. That's great news for the Six Nations.
It's great to have some players that can really, if they're given an opportunity, can finish it off in space. I think the challenges with returning from sevens and 15s is it's a very different game. There's obviously probably a lot more collisions, less space in 15s, and so it's just whether the girls enjoy that change. and kind of, really get stuck into it. Or sometimes I imagine it'd be hard. I mean, I'm obviously not a sevens player, but I can imagine it could be quite a difficult thing to flick between the two. But in terms of just, having Parsons on that edge with a strong ball carrier, absolutely rapid, get the ball in their hands. And I know Scott loves players that are strong, athletic players. So it'll be great I can see why he's involved them in the squad and why they want them in there, because Ireland are going to be looking for a win this year.
A lot of familiar names in there. Sam Monahan and Tricky Adele taking that co-captaincy role. I think two great players who have been kind of tearing up in the PWR. Played with both of them at Wasps, and especially Sam. I think she's come on, absolute leaps and bounds, picking up, great awards in the past couple of years as well for playing. Grace Moore from Sarries in there in the forwards. But I think there's been quite a few regular names in there, but in terms of the sevens girls joining, I think it can only really bring strength and depth in that. I think Baven has been in the Six Nations on the wing. I think I remember seeing, before I was even in an international squad, seeing a video of her tearing up or scoring a try in the Six Nations. So I know, well, obviously it might have been a while ago, but she obviously has that ability to be able to play 15. So it'll be interesting to see if they do, click back in and are able to bring what they bring in the sevens field to the 15s game.
Oh yeah, I mean Eve Higgins and as you say, Baven Parsons, when they've been allowed to get themselves involved in 15s and the Six Nations, they've been absolutely exemplary. Eve Higgins, I think, has been in our sort of Six Nations team of the tournament a couple of times down the years that we do as Scrum Queens. Fabulous players. There is one name missing, Cleena Maloney.
Yeah, I think it's a shame. Obviously, Cleena Maloney missing out on the Ireland squad again. I think she's a class player, and I think she's been playing well for her club. I think she's really passionate, and kind of that passion kind of galvanizes teams as well. And people really get behind her. And having played with her at Wasp, I can't really say much bad about how she plays. So obviously, it's just unfortunate she hasn't been selected again.
Yeah, it is. Really is. Again, a little bit like Scotland outside of that omission. And I thought when we spoke to a couple of months back that there may be some bridge building going on. I don't know where that bridge is to and from, or obviously to Cleena, but don't know where it exactly lands on the other side. But I can't imagine Scott Beeman would want to have someone like a player of her quality out of the squad, and it's very sad that she's not seen on that international level in the Six Nations. But aside from that, it's very settled, isn't it? Wider sort of training panelists, I think Ireland have called them, but players again getting the experience, and the Celtic Challenge has unearthed some players, Andrea Stock and Shannon Ikane-Hufo included. Cargo and Hefferhan and Goran as well. Whelan and Campbell, part of the WXV3 squad as well. Do we expect Ireland to keep improving? It was WX3, all respect given to the other nations, but that was a resounding win. And they've needed to get back on a winning path. We're going to see a really strong Ireland in this Six Nations army, especially with, as we already mentioned, those sevens players going in.
Yeah, I think they will be looking a lot stronger this year. I think it's always difficult, I think, speaking after our game to some of the Irish players. I think they were struggling a bit, just, I don't know, with everything that was going on. So I think, having Scott in, who's extremely energetic, he knows, how to lead a team. He's done it previously for many years. So I think he's going to be really good for them, and he's going to want to make his mark as well. So he'll be putting in the work, being like, this is me, I'm the head coach, and this is this team, and this is how we're developing. So I think they'll have some good structure in there, and probably with the sevens girls back, they'll be looking to get the ball in their hands a lot quicker. So yeah, I think they'll be good this year. And I'm excited to see where they are and how they progress throughout the tournament.
Sadia, knowing the players you do it, and many of them in the Ireland squad, about against them, with them, what have you, and knowing Scott Bemand as you do, how are Ireland going to play?
Good question. Good question. I think their pack has really come on strength to strength. Obviously, Scott Bemand, he loves his backs, the wingers. He loves to get the ball wide. So in terms of how he'll want to play is utilizing those strengths on the wings and on the edges. But I also think Ireland have their pack has come from strength to strength. In the past couple of years, where teams are kind of fearing them or having to really front up against them with big ball carriers like Sam Moynihan in there, Neve Jones being an absolute demon in defence. They have these players there who can change the game and really impact it. So I think in terms of how Scott will want to play, I think he's definitely going to be focusing on those wide channels. But obviously, to go wide, you have to go forward first, and I think they're going to be utilising what the strengths they have in that pack as well.
Yeah, so we're not expecting played 5, lost 5, as you did last year.
I hope not. And I think after their WXV season and coming away with such good wins, that should be a real big boost for them. So if they come in Six Nations, they'll be ready to hit the ground running and get a much better result than they previously have.
And I think it's got to help, hasn't it? I don't know. We're talking about Scott Beam, but obviously, he's someone that you guys know incredibly well. Spent months and months and months with him down in the other side of the world. That knowledge of the Six Nations and how to traverse it, and quite often, it's just media speaking and all that shit. But it does hold a huge amount of weight, doesn't it, Sarah? And knowing what's coming up, the games, how to traverse it, when to do this, when to do that. Scott has that experience.
Yeah, and he also has the detail of teams, how they play, how they'll want to play other teams. Like he's been in the women's game for an extremely long time now, so he has a whole knowledge of kind of what each team does, to an extent, obviously. But I think he'll just want to. Like Sard said, like he'll want to get the backs involved. I think his type of rugby is quite energetic, play what you see.
All court.
Kind of, and kind of probably looking more at the kicking game, how to play in those right areas. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. I think coming back to, the question of like hopefully they get a win. I think it's really difficult because you've also got to remember Scotland are going through a period of growing as well, and so are Wales, and so are Italy, and France and England continue to go through a period of growing as well. So I think it will be really, really hard to say at this point who's going to come out on top or what game's going to be what. It also depends what teams are doing. Are they rotating? Are they going full strength? Like, it's so hard to say until we see those team sheets out each week. But I hope that for them it's more about playing good rugby, building that rugby, and every game kind of focusing on, which is what Scott is good at, is focusing on those games, each game as they come. How could we have got out of trouble here? How could we have scored a bit better there? And I think for them, hopefully that is energetic, and it takes the focus off of the outcome, which is win-win-win, and more onto the process. Okay, how do we go about winning? How do we recognise the decisions we make to win, to play some good rugby? So in terms of that, I'm really excited for them, and I think it will be a great few games coming up in the Six Nations.
Devil is in the detail. Yeah, fascinating. As you say, Six Nations coming up. Can't wait for it.
I'm Emily Scarrett, and you are listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
Let's have a look back at last weekend's results then from the PWR, the English Top League Premiership Women's Rugby over here in England. It was round 12. Friday night, couple of games. I do know how it works anyway. Leicester 14, Ealing Trailfinders 29, as we all expected. But Ealing Trailfinders will be happy with that result. That's the double over Leicester Tigers, the other new team, Sadia?
Yeah, Ealing are really going from strength to strength. Like we said last week, they're building on the things that they're good at, as well as utilizing those players like Abby Dow and those star players in their team as well. Obviously Leicester also going well with you previously a win over us, but I think it's really great to see two teams who have just come in battling it out and it being a close and interesting game as well. It's not like we could 100% call who was going to win that game. So I think, it's great to see, Ealing kind of going from strength to strength and growing there. And I'm sure Giselle is, absolutely buzzing with that result. So
Yeah, and would you believe it, Sadia? Abby Dow scored again.
I find that
47th
pretty
try
hard
this
to
season.
believe.
That's not actually. Shell with a 14-point haul. Liz Craig with a couple of tries as well for the front row union. And there we just talking about it, weren't we? Fran McGee went over for Leicester and Brody on the back row. We've got to go there. The other game on Friday night where Sarah Byrne picked up the lurgy. Sadia Cabello was on the score sheet, but your African Violets went down to 33-17. Let's get the players' perspective first, and then the broadcast. If you did actually watch some of it, rather than looking at the Clifton Suspension Bridge and the pretty lights.
I think it wasn't a bad game. I think one thing for us is we just weren't very clinical. I think that's what Bristol were. I think we had a lot of ball and just didn't really come away with points where we should have. But I think there was really good moments of brilliance and good phases that we strung together to get over the try line and get 17 points on ball. But there was a big grey patch in the game where kind of no one could score, and then Bristol I think kind of gained the momentum from that, and we couldn't quite come back from it. But I think still for Loughborough, lots of positives to take away from it. We're still kind of building back from last season, and Bristol, they're a good outfit. We always knew that. We always knew it was going to be a tough game. So I think just a bit of disappointment from Loughborough because I think the score could have been a lot closer than it was. But also, kudos to Bristol. I think they played a good game and they were just clinical when it counted.
For me, Bristol were a lot better with their game management. They exited well. They learnt from the games against Exeter, against Gloucester, that they need to exit. Sometimes you can play sometimes, but sometimes it's not on. You've got to get out of those areas, and they did that a lot better. And also it was just one of those games where they kind of clicked a little bit more than I have seen previously. It was really nice to watch. They flowed some really, really nice passages of plays from their 5 all the way to Loughborough's 5. So in terms of Bristol, I think they did a really good job. Their scrum, their set piece was pretty dominant. And even if they didn't quite catch the line out, someone else was there to get those 50-50s. So for me, that's really, really positive to see Bristol in that kind of mindset leading into the last half of the season. But I do have to say that Loughborough did also do really well. Like Sard said, I do think it could have been closer. I do think Emily Scarrett, absolutely brilliant. Seeing her back on that pitch, you kind of remember how much you missed her, the timing of her pass, those little grubbers through. I think she made a massive difference to kind of that attacking variation for Loughborough. And I think it was everyone afterwards, even the security guards at Ashton Gate, as we were walking out, he was like, "Oh, did you see that game?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "What a great game of rugby." I was like, "Yeah, it was really good." It was definitely one of the best games of rugby I've seen for a while. It was really exciting. It was a brilliant game to watch.
Sorry, you're in camp with her. It is only one player, but this is Emily Scarrett we're talking about here. World Player of the Year, accolades galore. Everything touches goes to gold. Great to see her back. It's been a long time. Not a nice injury in the slightest. What does she bring to the camp on and off the field? Yeah,
no, it's amazing to have Skaz back, and she would hate she hates anyone even speaking about her return or her being back. I think I saw in an interview she was like, I'd rather like when she first came back, when she dropped the ball, for everyone to give her like a sarcastic cheer and people to go, oh, it's okay, Scout, like next thing. So yeah, it's so good to have her back. And off field, she's been training for quite a while now, rehabbing, getting back into it, and she just brings so much energy. So much energy and just kind of obviously a different perspective on the game. I think she's been around for a long time and has had a really successful career. And obviously Loughborough being quite a young team, she brings a lot of knowledge and yeah, just different perspective to the team. And on the pitch, I think she kind of has it all really. She's got a great pass. She's able to carry it. I think the main thing is just her vision. Like Berner says, she put in nice little kicks on the weekend. She knows when to float the ball over the top. She knows when to carry. Like she just has great vision. Is able to kind of create things not just for herself but for the rest of the team. So I think yeah, that's why it's great having her back, especially in those centres, because she just makes things happen. And she's just a great human in general, to be honest. So really nice to have her back.
Let's get into the games on Saturday. Just having a chat before we came on. Exeter Harlequins 19-all. Fascinating result, Berner.
I didn't expect it. I don't think anyone here did. Like we said, Quins, they're a good team, but it depends what Quins you get on the day. And obviously, they were ready for this one. I think Exeter might be starting to see actually having the same people start every week is getting tiresome for them, or injuries, or maybe Quins. I unfortunately didn't get to watch that game, but I think it's great. It's absolutely great to have scores like this in the table. Obviously for Bristol, but as in for everyone to come and watch and be like, hang on, I didn't expect that. I better go and watch that one back, or next time I'm going to go watch that gameplay. So I think it's great to have scores like that. But yeah, I certainly want to go and have a look and see what happened there on the day.
Menin McDonald, she's a bit like Dowd. She always scores at Buchanan as well. Talking Six Nations. Connie Powell over for Quins, Latcher as well. And Heather Cow, good to see her back as well. So yeah, 19-all, and now Exeter have to go to Gloucester-Hartpury. Speaking of them, on Sunday they beat Sale up at Sale 19-43 as back-to-back games. Kelsey Jones, Moore, Sarah Beckett, Gwen Crabb, don't often see it on a score sheet. McCarthy, Neve Jones, and Mans on the score sheet for Gloucester-Hartpury. Paris Reading as well, Hungertown and Borden.
After last week, when Sale were kind of in front at that half-time mark or around that start of the first half, I think probably Gloucester are like, come on now, we want to sort this out. We want to get back into that flow. There's only a few games left before one they play Saracens, which I think is after Six Nations. So yeah, they're going to be wanting to get the ball rolling again. So I think it's hard in this period of time because you play a lot of rugby after Christmas, and then you're straight into Six Nations, so things really start to ramp up a bit. It's easy to feel as well with the weather, like you're just feeling a bit like ugh. I think everyone feels it, so it's not uncommon that teams probably around this time are a little bit kind of flatlining a bit. But I think Gloucester have done really well there to kind of just pick it right back up and go, now and having this, let's get this win done. Let's get the ball rolling and get into a good swing before we go into Six Nations.
Yeah, there were 3 tries up 25 minutes. There were 5 tries by 39 minutes. Game done and dusted. Put Sale away. That's now 11 from 11 for Gloucester-Hartpury, which is in his second album. That's hit after hit after hit. Let's look at that table then. 54 points Gloucester-Hartpury are on. Now 9-point advantage of Saracens, who are on 45, but they've only played the 10 games. Game in hand. Exeter remain third with those 2 points at the weekend on 40, closing the gap of Bristol, fourth on 35. Loughborough Lightning Quins down 14 points off Bristol. But Sadia's Lightning do have a game in hand.
Now we have Rori with the news from around the world.
The Celtic Challenge has a winner. The Wolfhounds from Ireland, with a round to spare, They saw off the Clovers at the Kingsburn Stadium in Belfast, 47-26 at the weekend. Gwalior Lightning also picked up a 43-5 win over Glasgow. This week it's the final round of this Celtic Challenge, all at Parkhead Scarlets. The Clovers take on Edinburgh, and Britton Thunder up against Gwalior Lightning, 12:30pm and 2:45pm respectively. Round 8 over in France. In Elite A Feminine at the weekend, Rogbena went down at home 27-31 to the reigning champs Stade Bordelais, another tight one between Bobigny and Lille. 10-6 it finished to the home side. Stade Francais were dispatched 5-38 at the hands of Montpellier. In Pool 2, Stade Toulousain won at Stade Rennais 7-25. Blagnac put 52 unanswered points on Pau, and Lyon won against Grenoble 39-14. So the tables shape up like this. In Pool 1, Stade Bordelais have a 7-point advantage over Montpellier and ASA Rogbena. And Pool 2, Stade Toulousain lead the way, 9 points clear of Blagnac, with Grenoble 10 points behind them. This week in Pool 1, Lille face Stade Francais, Stade Bordelais host Montpellier, and Bobigny and ASA Rogbena go head-to-head. In Pool 2, Pau face Grenoble, Stade Rennais entertain Lyon, and Blagnac are off to Toulouse. In the Rugby Europe Championships, Netherlands beat Portugal on their debut in the competition. Their final score was 7-31. The Dutch, now 2 from 2, having already beaten Sweden. The HSBC World 7 Series played out its latest leg in Vancouver at the weekend, and it was New Zealand who grabbed their first win of the series, beating France 35-19 in the final. Portia Woodman-Wycliffe ran in a hat-trick as the Black Fern Sevens were back to their exhilarating best. That is the second silver for France in the year that they host the Olympics. They are now just 4 points clear of New Zealand, who are second, with the leaders, Australia, 6 points ahead of them. Elsewhere, Ireland failed to reach the quarter-finals after winning the Cup over in Australia. And Spain, again, got through to the last 8 and were joined by Brazil. And that is the rest of the news from around the world. I've been Rori Taylorson. Back to Sadia, Sarah and Johnnie. See you next week.
Thank you, Rory. Excellent as ever. Yes, congratulations to New Zealand picking up the title in Vancouver. Portia Woodman-Wycliffe now. My goodness. She just does it year after year after year after year, doesn't she? Quite incredible. A hat-trick in that final. Super PWR weekend is upon us here in England. Let's just remind you of the fixtures. All 4 matches can be seen live. 2 on TNT, the other 2 being streamed. All main stadia. So it shapes up like this on Saturday. Things kick off with Gloucester-Hartpury up against Exeter at 3:05 from Kingsholm. Then at 5 o'clock, it's Trail Finals Sports Ground for Ealing T against Bristol. Then on Sunday, Leicester travel to the Stonex to face Saracens. That at 1 o'clock. And closing the weekend, Loughborough Lightning hosts Sale at Franklin's Gardens. Do you like playing at the Gardens?
We do love playing at the Gardens. And we're getting, each time we play there, a better crowd and getting more used to it. And it's been more like our home. So, really excited. And it's a lovely pitch. So, always nice to play there.
Just on a wider perspective, Berner, these little sort of initiatives, all games being streamed live and what have you. I know there was talk about a terrestrial partner, which, I'm sure the PWR team are working hard to continue to get. But and I think it's a point you made. You can't watch all the games now. Well, this weekend you can. It's a good old initiative, isn't it? Is it filtrating through the players and the teams that it's a weekend, a notch up?
I think people who, you play a game, you come back, you're like, oh, who played today? Let me put it on. Like it's great to sit down and you're kind of watching it as if you would do the men's games. You sit down, who's on playing, I'll put it on the telly. Like, it's so much more accessible for people. It's such a nicer thing. Like, you've got family that live far away. Well, don't worry, it's on the telly. Like, I think if we could get to the point where all our games are being streamed and there is a broadcast deal, or something like that, I think that would be really beneficial. But yeah, it's great that this weekend that they're all going to be on, so you can watch absolutely all of them, which I feel like that will be me just sat down watching all of them this weekend. But no, I think it's great. But I still think there is work to be done there to make it more accessible and to really push the brand out there.
Let's have a little dive into each of these games. Saturday, Gloucester-Hartpury up against Exeter, 3:05 kickoff for that one. We already mentioned, didn't we? Huge game for Exeter. Do they get a proper measure of where they're at up against the champions?
Definitely, I think it's going to be a really good game to see. Like you've seen, Gloucester kind of just come out of a bit of a rut that they were in, not really getting the scores they wanted. Obviously, still coming away with the wins, but after last week, I think we kind of seen them getting back on their usual form. Whereas Exeter are kind of in the opposite. I think they've now hit their rut, so it'll be interesting to see how the game will go, especially because I know both teams will kind of know the importance of the game, and obviously Exeter Gloucester was it the final? Yeah, the final last year. So another rematch of the final. I think that will add another layer to it. In terms of, will it show an accurate perception of where Exeter is? I'm not sure, just because they haven't been putting out the best performances. But maybe the occasion, playing Gloucester, will bring out a new side. Maybe this week in training they'll have different focuses, maybe a bit more rest, so then we'll be able to see that come out in the game. But I think it'll be a really good game. I think it'll be very, very competitive, and yeah, it'll just be good to see who kind of turns up on the day.
I do think Gloucester will be difficult to stop. However, I think knowing Exeter, I know that they'll be down in the dumps probably with that result. They'll be a bit gutted as well from Bristol, so who knows, they might be similar to what Gloucester did last week and be like, right, let's go get it. I think it's harder. You can get more ups for those teams that are above you sometimes in the table. Like, you're like, I know this is going to be an incredibly tough game. I know I'm going to have to work as hard as I can. Where sometimes those ones that are slightly kind of closer or a little bit under, you're a bit like, oh, it's another game. But I think it'll be really, again, a great game to watch. Gloucester play some good rugby, Exeter play some good rugby, but I do very much think it's going to be down to what we see on the day, what kind of environment are Chiefs in at the minute. Is it a happy environment, or are they frustrated, annoyed, all those things. But I am going to say I think Gloucester will come out on top.
The Sandy Park factor last time they played an incredibly tight game was there for all to see. I think it's a big game for Exeter, looking ahead of this season, and mentally as well. Going to have a prediction from you then, Sadia?
I'm also going to go with Gloucester for the win.
12 from 12. 19-all draw. 5 o'clock, the Trail Finder Sports Ground, Ealing Tea against Bristol. We know that's going to be tough. What areas do you exactly have to get right, Berner, to get past Ealing Trailfinders?
Set piece, definitely. Scrum. You've got Liz Craig there. You've got other players in there that can be a bit of a nod in those situations, with decent players. So I think, Scrum needs to be on form again. I think for Bristol it's kind of becoming a bit of a weapon, which should be feared, with the likes of Hannah Bottom and Lark Davis in there. Eliane has also been playing extremely well. So, Scrum in there. But I also do think you've got to stop Abby Dow. So how do you stop Abby Dow? You've got to keep the ball. Like, you don't want to give them a ball. You don't want to give them opportunities. So on reflection of the Loughborough game as well, probably minimising those unforced errors. Bristol did it well, but at times you'd lose the ball in touch, stuff like that. I think if we can get those things back right, I think we should be in a pretty good place. So I think just minimising those threats and keeping hold of the ball this game will be a big one.
Having just played them, Sadia, are you expecting a Bristol win up at Ealing?
I am. My crystal ball says Bristol will come away with the win.
So 2 West Country winners so far. Leicester down to the Stonex. 1 o'clock for that one. Do get to the Stonex. Pretty decent day out for the fans as well. Are we seeing another Sarries win there? Because again, you want to start keeping sort of pressure on everyone else around you in that top 4, don't you?
Yeah, I think Sarries, like you just said, Johnny, I think they're going to be going all out. Obviously Leicester towards the bottom of the table, but it doesn't matter when the top 4 is quite tight, and you'll want to keep increasing those gaps. So I think Sarries are going to want to put as many points on Leicester as possible. And I think Sarries are a team who kind of don't really take the foot off the gas anyway. So I think we'll see them putting out a strong performance and taking away the win.
Agree, Berner?
Yeah, Saracens. I just think they have too many things accurate. They have their line out, their maul, their scrum, how they play, kicking in the right territories is a big part of their game. So I think Leicester, they are, again, we'll see some great tries because every single game they've put in some great tries in there. So I'm not saying that they won't get in on the score sheet, but I think Sarries are just rolling too well at the minute for them to disrupt them.
Yeah, and they sort of bully teams. I mean that in the nicest possible way. So they just impose their game, don't they, on other teams? And if they're allowed to do that, and against the new kid to carry on the analogy, the new kid in the playground, Leicester, it's going to be a tough afternoon for them. Closing up the weekend, Loughborough Lightning against Sale. Sadia's going for a Sale win. Well, Sadia's going for a Loughborough Lightning win against Sale. Turned the corner, but performance-wise, Sale are getting better week on week, are they not?
They are. They definitely are. 2 games against Gloucester. To be fair, pretty decent score the first game. Second game, always hard with that tight turnaround to play the top of the league essentially within a week of each other. They have been, but I just think how Loughborough played at the weekend, I think Loughborough will definitely win that game. Just how they're attacking, some of the amazing individual breaks, like Helena Ronan had a great game as well, like ran pretty much the length of the pitch. Obviously Sadia yourself, and I just think that Loughborough will win that game. They're just playing a really nice, exciting style of rugby. And I kind of want to make sure I watch that one.
And may have some Sale whispers possibly. Someone like Telling might be back from injury. That might give a little boost. What's the main fear about Sale? Is it as obvious to say the physicality, Sadia?
No, I don't think that's obvious. Well, yeah, probably, it's obvious. I don't know. I mean, I think I would have gone with physicality as well. I think they are quite a dominant team in general in their backs, in their forwards. The likes of Katana in their back line, Essie, huge ball carriers, distributors as well. And yeah, I think Loughborough are going to have to do well in our defence, able to stop those carriers. I think Sale are a team that plays well when they get momentum. So Loughborough is going to have to not let them in the game, and I think they really get their momentum through their big power players. I actually did think Moana was back this weekend because I read her article, which read as if she's back, but she isn't. I think she's still got a couple of weeks, so wishing her good luck with the rest of her rehab. But yeah, I think Loughborough kind of been building really well, and I think we've had unlucky results, but really good moments of brilliance. And I think it's kind of leading to this Sale game where we can kind of put it all together and hopefully get a really good, convincing win.
So you're going a Loughborough Lightning win, as am I, as is a Berner. Stop Sale in the tracks. God, Berner. If only Loughborough Lightning had a 7 who likes chopping down trees for fun. Yeah, if only, eh? So just a reminder of you, the full fixture weekend on the PWR. All games are being shown, 2 live on TNT, the other 2 being streamed. So the first TNT game is Saturday, 3:05, Gloucester-Hartpury up against Exeter. from Kingsholm. Apologies, you'll have my dulcet tones on that one. 5 o'clock at Trailfinders Sports Ground, evening tea against Bristol, and then Sunday it's Saracens up against Leicester at 1 o'clock. That one's being streamed. And then Loughborough Lightning against Sale from Franklin's Gardens is on TNT.
So a couple of shout-outs this week, starting with Ella Cromack, who has committed her future to Harlequins. The 18-year-old, a member of the under 20 squad, has already spent time with the Roses at their training camp, so congratulations to her.
Yeah, one certainly for the future. Laurie Kramer of Exeter, or should we say formerly of Exeter, has returned home to take up a contract with Rugby Australia and the Queensland Red franchise. We spoke about that last week, didn't we? The extended contracts that Rugby Australia put in now. Like Caitlin Leaney, who we discussed last week from Harlequins, Wallaroos coming up on the rails. They'll be strong. They'll be strong in the World Cup.
Yeah, 100%. But over in Vancouver Sevens, Brazil broke their 17-game losing streak when they beat Ireland, coming off of a win from their Gold Coast event in Australia.
Yeah, well done to the Brazil Sevens, and of course, Blackfern Sevens as well. Over in France, here's some news for you. 6,025 fans watched SA Roquemenat against the reigning champion Stade Bordelais, a new record for a club game attendance in France. There's no TV deal over there with the women's game, so if you want to see them, you've got to get down to the grounds. That's fabulous numbers.
Yeah, brilliant numbers. To be fair to France have done for years, before we did, amazing amount of fans. I remember the record was 17,000, and that was, 3 years, maybe 2 years before the World Cup. It was a phenomenal event. They do really, really well to get their fans there and get the support to those stadiums, and it's great to see it. It's amazing to play in as well, that kind of environment. Yeah,
they have led the way, haven't they? But for club games, always been brilliant, as you say, Berner, with the international attendance. But for the club game, that is fantastic to see. So ending on a very positive note, we've been telling you about our friend Gary Street and his road to recovery. To go with the GoFundMe page, GoFundMe, and then Streets Ahead is the one if you want to donate there. But we've also set up a live auction. Some unbelievable items on there. There's signed shirts from Sia Khaleesi. There's tickets. There's holidays. There's experiences. There's all sorts. Memorabilia from 2014 when, of course, Gary was the World Cup winning coach with the England women's team. So if you want to get involved in that, check out our socials. It's all over our socials. The website address is emma-live.com/streetsahead/home_page. emma.live.com/streetsahead/home_page. Get involved. You will not be disappointed with the items on there. Dig deep if you can. At very, very least, please just share this auction and the GoFundMe page as wide as far as we can to help Gary and Flip and the boys. Thanks so much for all your help, and do continue to give it. Big thank you to Meg Varley, big thank you to Hugh Berner, and to you, Sadia, and to Tom doing his bits and pieces in the background. Ladies, we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
I didn't think you'd actually do the wave, but you did.